Welcome back to OinkGaming. Today we're going to put you on a little montage action, and we're going to... the reality is these Crusader King campaigns are a blast, but they get long in the tooth. They just do. Especially if you set a really ambitious objective. The most fun is surviving early game, creating a nemesis, and then eventually overcoming the nemesis. And then after you've done that, there's a good 300 years left to play. And if you've set an objective like recreating the Roman Empire, it can be daunting. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how I got from the end of the last video to this point with a little montage action. And then we're going to do it. We're going to become the Roman Empire. Many have tried, all have failed, except we here on OinkGaming will do it. All right? So enjoy the montage. I'll see you at the end. Stubborn thing here has been that we've had everything we've needed to create the Roman Empire, except the King of Sicily, right? The Kingdom of Sicily has been what's lacking. A bit frustrating. So here we are, we've now finally gotten enough. To create the Kingdom of Sicily, we move up to this. It says I need to own 51% of the counties in Sicily. Now, the Kingdom of Sicily in Crusader Kings is not just the island of Sicily, which is down here. Never been to Sicily. It's on my bucket list. But it's also the southern boot. It's the whole boot, which I assume at some point that the Kingdom of Sicily governed the whole boot, and managed it from Sicily. But I don't know. I don't know my history all that well. I know my Italian history starting with the reunification and a little bit of Roman history, but I don't know this period all that well. So we're ready to go. So let's look at our mission. We have just a majestic lip caterpillar. Wife and I are very productive. We've had a lot of children. Things have gone quite swimmingly. We have 200,000 troops, which is absolutely outrageous. We've just conquered. You just watched us conquer. We took Timbuktu to install a guy who essentially had strong claims on all this up here, and now we've placed him in the claim. The chance of him actually keeping those is next to nothing because he has to raise his forces in Timbuktu and then get them all the way up here to fight his war. So he's going to lose all that. It doesn't matter. I don't care if he loses it or not. I care only and simply that it's part of my domain. But we are ready to form the Holy Roman Empire, and so let's read the conditions. I am an adult, so I'm adulting. Check. Is not a prisoner. Well, not at least the traditional sense. Does not have the trait incapable. Well, anyone who says it dies. Prestige is greater than 1,000. How about 26,000? Shazam. Realm size equal to 220. Adorbs. Okay, that's like my summer home. All of the following must be true. Is King of Italy or Emperor of Italia? Ooh, that's a problem for me. That's what we're going to try to solve. Holds at least one kingdom or empire title within the de jure emperors of Francia, Germany, Hispania, or Britannia. Okay, so we should check that box, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Religious head has an opinion greater than 25. Well, currently one of my vassals is at war with the Pope. Urbanus V is at war with the King of Burgundy over, let's see what they're over, Anatab? Who knows? He's at 23, though, so we're not too far off. I think sending alcohol to the Pope should pretty much do the trick. Yeah. Earlier, I sent alcohol to the Caliph. Of course, Muslims can't have alcohol. So I wanted to know if it would create like a negative thing. Like, would it be an insult to him? Which is probably a better mechanic. But it didn't. He accepted it. Now the Pope likes us just enough. So where are we here? Those now check all the boxes. So we just have to deal with all of the following must be true. King of Italy or Emperor of Italia. Okie dokie. So let us look at everything we've got to do here. De jure, Byzantine Empire, we'll see. Create Sicily. Boom. I'm now the king of Sicily. I hold 2 kingdom titles. I've been waiting on that. Now, this Sicily may have been underneath the Byzantine Empire so long that it doesn't help me create the Empire of Italia. But we're going to create one right here. It should match. When you create a title, it should match, okay, all the governing structure of your top title. So the Empire of Briza is agnatic, cognatic, primogeniture. Agnatic, cognatic, primogeniture. That's creating a lot of the same level tier titles can be problematic. It's exacerbated by the fact that you have different succession laws. So you want to make sure that if you do have multiple top titles, they all have the same law and everything, otherwise you'll have an issue. It exacerbates it nevertheless, because you will have factions now who will look to take the Italian title from you. And it's like, come on, people. All right. Let us see if that got us there. Now, the process of doing all that, I wasted too much money, and it didn't... I wasted too much money, frankly. And now it's saying, hey, my empire title in Brittany doesn't qualify as Francia, Germania, Hispania, or Britannia. Okie dokie. Okie dokie smoky. So we'll create those now. We're going to go Empire, Germania. Which one do we want? Let's do Hispania. Hispania. That's a saucy, sexy title. Now, that's a bunch of money. But now let's go check on our thing. Here, perfect. Now we just need money. Money is of no object. We generate plenty of money. We are now the triple empire. That's pretty badass. And they all match, which is pretty badass. Does this open up? One thing I've been doing to expand, and you didn't see this on camera, is looking for any kind of titles that put me that incentivize my vassals to attack, right? So this is a title, Duke of Moravia. I gave it to this guy, right? So it says granted duchy, gave it to him. He already has 2, so he gave it to his vassal, whose title that really belonged to, which was this guy. Now this guy and this guy both have a reason to go to war with Poland and take this county. So I've been doing that to try to expand. At some point, I usurped the kingdom of Saxony, gave it away because I'm a nice guy, and that broke up all of these tiny principalities now. All of these are like nothing, and I could just go through here and rip-roar through all that. But I'm not sure that's, you know, part of expanding the borders yet. So what we'll just do now is let the money return, which does ever so quickly at this point. The only reason I'm spending any money at the moment is I think I've got great wonders under construction everywhere. Yeah, that one's under construction. I think they're all under construction. You make so much money, and I've been using it. I mean, I've been using it to... I should be proud. I'm the king of the world right now. Did I take Iceland? Iceland is its own country here. Look at that. That's an interesting... They came out with new facial structures at one point. I don't know if I ever really liked them all that much. It's a little bit funky there. What's going on with her? Is that makeup? I'm not sure what's going on there. She's a Saxon, and she's independent, which is pretty insane. I could end that, but I just don't know why I would want to. Eating all this up now is like, meh. Now, I would... Let's read a book. No, let's go for a hunt. I've never attempted a world conquest. And I kind of go back and forth as to whether or not that would be a lot of fun or just a lot of work. I want him to make sure he stays Britain. Does everybody love me right now? What is the deal? It's the lip caterpillar. This campaign is darn near capable of pulling it off, probably. It's only 1100. We've got another 250 years to go. And eating all this up would be no problem. Absolutely no problem. Getting all the way to this world border, I've never done it. I've never attempted that campaign. I get worn out. So if we do that, I'll make that a separate campaign, right? Because this one really is going to summarize in Roman Empire, I think, and we'll call it quits there. All right, how's my money coming? It's coming along wonderfully. Wouldn't mind talking to the queen a little bit more. She's about to be the empress. Now, the key here is not dying, which is not something I have total control over, but it is something that would make a big difference if, in fact, I failed. What's interesting when this occurs, now that we're really close, is it becomes a Holy Roman Empire, which is totally cool. It implements princely elective, which changes the dynamics of the game. Some of the titles go away. The empire titles of everything I've created thus far just disappear. And we give the Pope a whole chunk of territory. So we're creating the Holy Roman Empire, not the Roman Empire. Two different things. So we couldn't take this campaign and reconquest the Roman... there's a Steam achievement for retaking the old Roman borders, which I've attempted and never really succeeded in doing. So, two different things, though. Roman Empire and Holy Roman Empire, two different things. I've become a poet, which, to look upon my face, is poetry enough. I don't know what I'm doing here. Every so often I send her some money. And this was a bad timing to do that. It just felt right. Before anything else happened, she get a little bit of something. She helped me achieve my life's objectives. This is just ugly. I just want to conquer because it's ugly, but I don't. I just want to... This campaign is good. Success. I'm ready to try some new gameage. The World Seed campaign has been a blast. I'm enjoying my World Seed. I finished my Dawn of Man. That was fun. I'd like to come back with a new game before I do Dawn of Man a second attempt. There we go. We're right on the money now. But this campaign needs to be finished before I start something else. I like to finish things. All right, here we go. Still not there? Oh, come on now. Come on. Oh, the religious head no longer loves me as much. The alcohol must have worn out. Or he's stained glass window, church view of Crusader. Can I send you more alcohol? I think it only fitting that it is an alcoholic gift that refounds the Holy Roman Empire. This will be fun. Boom. Since the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476, the Emperor of the Byzantines has been the sole claimant to the heritage of the Caesars. There has always been a rift between the Greek and the Latin worlds, not least in matters of church. The popes in Rome have for a long time made their own policies, refusing to accept Byzantine supremacy and denying that the emperor in Constantine could hold a legitimate claim to authority over Christendom. My name, which isn't pronounceable, de Pohar, has now been crowned Holy Roman Emperor by Pope Urbanus V, invoking the Translatio Imperii and restoring the Western Roman Empire. This perhaps signifies a new era in the history of Europe, and is definitely a confirmation of the long-standing rift between East and West. Tight. If you ever go look at the Holy Roman Emperor, like Frederick or anything, it's such a Barbarossa, Peter, it's just cool. It's just flippin' cool how allegory, how history gets rewrapped, repackaged, really to drive power. What you're attempting to do is recapture something that was lost without understanding all the variables that ultimately achieved that something. You're trying to grasp onto a concept by using symbolism, which is much of what the Holy Roman Empire was always doing, was pulling on the heartstrings of some great past and utilizing that to create power. Which it's cool, it's fascinating, it's interesting. It can be used for horrible ends, and oftentimes was. Glory, we started off, that's a rebellion up there. This changes the inheritance law, agnatic, cognatic, princely, elective. And how this changes the game now is the emperor and the 7 prince electors can nominate a successor from among themselves. Any legitimate children and siblings of the ruler, as well as any other major de jure vassal of the empire, has as long as they share the same religion as the current emperor, can be elected in. And so if you ever play Europa Universalis, which is the game that comes after this, and you play as the Holy Roman Empire, there's 7 princes, and they elect the next dude. And so this changes drastically the way you're going to play this game now, because you're not, you aren't at all guaranteed pure, clean succession by you. And so it becomes much harder to manage, in my opinion, manage this whole thing. You get this badass double eagle thing going on, which is a Holy Roman Empire-esque thing. It's cool, yeah. And now you see the papacy took back all of this land. They got all of this as like a thank you, I guess, for legitimizing myself. I wonder if it changes my de jure claims against this guy now. No. Yeah, de jure. I have de jure on all of his lands. Do I have de jure on all of this? The Holy Roman Empire never really got to Middle East, so I don't know why this would change. And I would probably holy war it anyway. Nah, nothing changes there. All of this. What about up here? Much of this was down the Rhine River in Elbe. Was, in fact, that's not part of the Holy Roman Empire. I don't have de jures on him. I broke all this up by taking the King of Saxony down. Anyway, that's the campaign, y'all. You know, if you compare early game, you know, here's late game, right? Y'all see, we're gonna save game. This is where we ended this campaign. Save game. We can easily go back and recreate the world that we started, though, by just going back to Tregor, County of Tregor. You know, when we started this whole campaign, you just saw what it all looked like. This is the world as it began. And this was me. Pohar, Count Budik of Pohar. He didn't last long, did he? I remember he didn't last long. But this is how we started. And by the end of the campaign, just about all of things that we saw here is ours, which you know, hey, I feel like we earned it. How long was this campaign? Let's go and reload, and then we're gonna read the final. The final tally. All right, one of the cool things you can do in this game, might I remind you all, this was Iron Man mode. So at any point in this campaign, we could have failed, lost it, and it just would have been the end. Done. There's a couple times in there that I had bastard children, and I had to legitimize them to save the reign, right? If you don't legitimize the bastard children, they may inherit if they're the only child, and they would have a different dynasty name. Right, so you come really close to failing a bunch of times in grand campaigns like this, and so to accomplish Iron Man something this large is no small feat. One of the neat things you can do in this game then is when you resign, it will give you a full overview of everything you accomplished from the beginning to the end and score you, and then it lays you up against the most successful dynasties and tells you their history. And it'll literally give you a running task of every guy that you play, every guy and girl you played who reigned as your successor. So here's Duke Boudic the Unready was the guy I started with. He reigned for 1 year and died, and he earned 187 prestige. And then I played as Duke Meliao the Tenacious, and he earned 1,000 prestige. Died after 25 years. His child, the third player we played as Erispo, A. Macmaclú. There's some good Gaelic going on, Bretonnian, Gaelic Bretonnian. He managed to get 1,800, and this just kept sum totaling, right? So this score here is the sum total of every ruler you played and how effective each one was. The Hunter, and then this guy, 13, 23, 35, 40. If you remember, I named... This guy sucked and left us in a bad spot. Erispo I took over, and I thought, man, this is going to be rough. But his kid's going to turn around. So I named his kid the Turnaround King. And then Erispo went on to win a crusade, conquer a bunch of territory, and get wildly awesome. And was wickedly good. 15,000 prestige is one hell of a lifetime for 35 years. And then his son did pretty darn good. Turnaround King the Wise, if you remember those gameplays. Nicholas died as a child, 3 years. Breslagor the Lionheart means he won another crusade. And then the last couple there obviously had massive prestige bonuses. They had massive territories, a ton of victories. But that's it. That entire campaign was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Scroll up, please. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14. We played as 14 characters. It feels like a lot more. I mean, each time you die, you feel like, oh, man, okay. And you can go right through some people, but 14 characters is all we really played as. This also gives you a rundown of, you beat the house of I always say Capet. I don't think it's French. I don't think it's how you say it. Descended from Robert the Strong, who was a power figure during the reign of Charles the Bold. His descendants would be the kings of France in 1066. Although in 1322 the main line would die out, cadet branches still ruled into 1337 as kings of France, Portugal, Naples, Hungary, and Navarre. So this game ranks you not just as your own players, but it sums up all the prestige of all the other dynastic characters you've created. So you could play a campaign where you're just trying to max this out by summarizing literally everything you possibly can. You know, you putting your dynasty in as many places as possible and seeing if you can be the kings of everything. And we did that, right? We had a bunch of kinsmen and women governing all over the place. And that's why that number is so large. These are all kind of cool. Occasionally you'll come across names that you recognize as an American. Like I knew a Bandenberger. Bandenberger. I mean, I knew somebody named that. Plantagenet. So those would be the English, crazy English kings and queens. Plantagenet would be Henry and his break with the Catholic Church. So Plantagenet, that's all theirs. The Habsburgs, you hear about the Habsburgs. This game also gives you a chronicle, and you can literally go by year and read major events that occurred year by year by year. And you can export this and read over your grand campaign if you wish. I've never done that, but it is cool to look through this and see. King Robin II of Byzantium made peace with Badashah Alim II of the Umayyad Empire of the Lion. It made peace made it sound like I didn't win. It made it like I lost. That was a loss to Umayyads back in 876. And we finished the game in 1098, right? And if I fast forward, you can start to see where I win. King Erspo III of Byzantia, what do we ever figure out how to pronounce it? Successfully led his armies taking a Tivendale tribe from the enemy. And cool, right? Like it just reads like a historical chronicle. So neat feature. Love this feature. We've done it. Congratulations to you for hanging in there and watching. Congratulations for me for showing how good I am at Crusader Kings 2. Now you all know it and can respect me. Know what you respect about this. I mean, it's like perseverance. I think perseverance. That's what you can respect. Perseverance. All right. Had a blast. This one's over. We won't come back to Crusader Kings for some time. I don't think we will. We're going to go explore some new games, some different games. But this is always my all-time favorite. Fell in love with this. Have never fallen out of love with it. Can't wait for Crusader Kings 3. We'll continue to play Crusader Kings 2 till Crusader Kings 3 is good enough to switch. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.